Mondays with Mikey, he's Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt. We back, baby, because we are almost in our second year of our talk show, but we're going to have good times. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Oh, the rap is back, Murf. Here it is. Once again, our draft review only 2 months in. We're finally back. Going to do it again. Have a good time with me and my Raider Nation friends. He's Murf. I'm Mikey. And you knew that already, but I had to say it again because it's fun. Because in case you don't know who we are, he's Murf and I'm Mike. It's Monday with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt. Because we are the second funnest Raider talk show on the nation. Besides Murf Fan Cave, let's go, it's Monday with Mikey and Murf. Murf, welcome back to On Air Nation. Out of your fan cave, we are both got our schedules correct, and we are able to do our draft review about 2 months later. How you feeling? What's going on, dude?
I'm doing great, Mikey. Glad to be back, man. Glad to talk to you. Glad to shout out Raider Nation here, back on Air Nation for Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Glad to be back. I can't see the chat, but I always read it after the fact. So what's up, everybody in there? And I'll read your what's up back later. But thanks for joining us.
That's right. The chat room is the funnest place to be after Murf's Raiders Fan Radio from his fan cave. That is the funnest place to be for me. Then we are the second funnest place to be on Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Then the third funnest place to be is actually in the chat room with you crazy old Raider Nation kids out there writing all in the chat. How you doing?
All up in the
Murf,
chat.
What you been doing? You went to the draft. You had a good time. What's going on?
I did. I went to the draft. Raiders Fan Radio was there. You can follow any of our stuff there. You can go to just Murf's Fan Cave. It's youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave or Raiders Fan Radio. You just search Murf's Fan Cave also on any podcast network. And you can see or hear all of our draft coverage. We were, for those of you that don't know, I'm originally from the Bay Area. I'm from San Jose, California, born and raised, and have since relocated to Middle Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, where the 2019 draft was held. And so Raiders Fan Radio was all up in the draft for all 3 days. We were downtown for the first night for 13 hours for the entirety of the first round, plus much, much more. I mean, we got down there around breakfast time and met up with some podcast friends, and many, many members of Raider Nation, Gorilla Rilla, you name it. It was a blast. Had a great time. Day 2, went back down there, hung out with my kids. Day 3, we went back down there and did our live stream. It was amazing, dude. It was absolutely amazing. The draft was glorious, and so that's been a big chunk of what I've been doing since our last show here on Air Nation.
We're actually going to watch a little bit of your draft fun in a few minutes, but I was just informed that today is not Monday.
It's Fridays with Mikey and Murf. That's correct. So we might have to change our names to Freddie and Phil or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, my schedules and real life has been a little bit of a hassle, and so we weren't able to. And we were like, you guys need a Mondays with Mikey and Murf, but it's Friday, and we're able to be online live today. So I was like, let's do it. So today we're Fridays with Mike and Murf on Monday. We're Mondays with Mike and Murf on Friday. I couldn't figure that out.
Or Fridays with Freddie and Phil.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's the algorithm of the M and the M and the M.
Yeah, and the F and F and F.
The only time I like triple F is on a girl's body. Bing!
Hey, F you and F me, Mikey. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Man, let's do it. Let's talk some Raiders, man.
Murf, It's time for the debate headlines, breadlines. And Murf, I do not like paying rent.
But you are a master debater.
You got that right. Thank goodness for the invention of chatterbait, and we'll talk about that later.
I have no idea what that is, and I don't want to know either.
Chatterbait.com, look it up.
Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to do, this used to be called the headlines segment, but I kind of do headlines on my news show. So we're going to call this the debate segment, the great debate. And we want to get you fans interested, and we're going to talk about kind of the headlines, but we're going to debate it. You know, point, counterpoint, Murf versus Mikey. And you guys, whoever you agree with per any topic, write down below or in the forums who you believe wins that argument. There might be an occasion where we actually agree, Murf.
We actually agree a lot of the times. It's just, you know, on the show, neither one of us are shy to not agree with each other, and that's okay. It would be no fun if we just sat around here and went, you know what, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a great idea. Yeah, thanks. You too. Like, you know what I mean? That doesn't make for great radio.
Yeah, I might disagree just to agree. Or
agree just to disagree?
No, I'm going the other way. I'm going to disagree to agree.
But you know, it's funny though, but we don't do it for effect. I don't intentionally I'm going to disagree with you just so we can, we're not at Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman up in here. That ain't going to happen. But yeah, we have different points of view on things. We're kind of like, I'm not going to get political, but we're kind of like politics, Mikey. We all have the same goal. We just have different paths of getting there at times.
But on occasion, we should do point counterpoint. Like like a debate class in high school.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Mikey, you ignorant slut.
Jane, you Saturday Night Live. I love it.
There you go. I wonder how many people in the chat get that joke. Yeah.
No Coke, Pepsi.
Cheeseburger.
You ever notice when you go to any restaurant and you say, do you have 7-Up? They always say no. They got Sprite. And every time you go, you got Pepsi? They're like, no Pepsi, Coke. I don't know.
No fries. No fries, chips.
No fries, chips. Giro. We're gonna get called out as being racist for some damn reason.
What was it called? The Olympia Diner, something like that.
It was the Olympia Diner.
Yeah, it was John Belushi. Yeah, man.
All right, you guys know my issues with John Gruden.
Oh boy,
I still have them. But he's impressed me much this year, to my chagrin, based off of last season. So I'm feeling a lot better about John Gruden right now. But I still have to ask the question, with the rumors about Derek Carr being the quarterback, Colton Miller being drafted in 2018, with Vontaze Burfict, Incognito, Antonio Brown coming to the team, Tom Cable not being fired, trading Khalil Mack, Mark Cooper, not firing Reggie McKenzie in his first year, calling out players all of last season, then drafting punters and kickers in the draft. I still got to ask you a question, and we're going to debate this. What is John Gruden's plan? Take it away, Murf, and then I'll counter.
All right. Well, plans are, built sometimes to be changed. When you have a lot of working dynamics like you do with a football team, with the personalities and contracts and agents and drafts and all those things going on, you have to be flexible within your plan. So if you stay too rigid within your plan, then typically it's tough to find success. It's like the old adage where, do you draft for a player to fit your system, or do you take a system to fit it around your players? Well, I think John Gruden is the kind of guy that's going to roll along with things as they become available. That's not from lack of planning, but it's just from taking advantage of an opportunity like Antonio Brown. They didn't go into this season thinking they were going to chase down one of the greatest wide receivers of all time and make him the number one to replace Amari Cooper. That wasn't the goal. That wasn't in the plan, but it made itself available, so they acted on it. So you have to be able to trust your judgment. You have to be able to trust the planning that you did that went in prior to that. But ultimately, is there a long-term plan? Yes. Will the short-term plan adjust as things change? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that John Gruden is a plan maker, but after watching everything that's happened, I have to agree with you, Murph. I think he's going with the punches. He's winging it. Based off maybe in his earlier career, he was a plan maker and he wanted everything his way and he wanted to pick the players that went according to, but with hiring people like Mayock and all that other stuff, it's proven that he's kind of going against his earlier self. And, he's going to roll with the punches and trust other people as the years go on. But I do think in his first year with the Raiders, I think he had a plan in his head and it all went to crap because he should have fired McKenzie that year. Why let him come on for a whole year? And then all the draft picks, let's just call it what it is. They were all John Gruden's. And they are all struggling, the 2018 draft picks. They're struggling a little bit. But now we got Mayock. But I just don't think he has an overall plan. See, and I wish he would have.
Well, there I think we disagree. That I think the long-term plan is yes. Again, the short term is no. One of my favorite quotes of all time is Mike Tyson, and he said, everyone has a plan until you get hit in the face. Then all of a sudden your plans change, right? So I think that they got hit in the face last year. So plans change. And there's nothing wrong with it. And you should be flexible. You should be fluid and able to move around that. And then that's where the judgment comes in. And that's where the work is, right? That's where guys like Mayock are fantastic because he puts in the work. There is no better evaluator of talent maybe in the world when it comes to the NFL athlete than Mike Mayock. And so that's the guy John Gruden brought in, so that he could act on short notice. So, and then, then you get things like there, and we're going to talk more about it later, but then you get things like, no guard addressed in the draft, no guard addressed in free agency. Then somebody like Richie Incognito comes available and they acted on it. So was Richie Incognito part of the long-term plan? No, but was he available? Did it make sense? Yes. So they did it.
Yeah. In my opinion, he made a lot of mistakes last year, and then he got called out for it, and no pun intended, because he called everybody else out. And I don't understand, drafting kickers and punters in the draft. They're not working out, So it just, a lot of his decision-making last year just kind of proved that, I felt like he didn't have a plan. But I could see a plan forming this year, as you spoke about, for the long term. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I think he's rebuilding the 1999-2000 team in some aspect. Antonio Brown is the Jerry Rice. Tyrell Williams is the Tim Brown that can run every route. Josh Jacobs is the Charlie Garner. Vontaze Burfict is the Bill Romanowski. It just kind of feels like he might be rebuilding that actual 2000 team. What do you think about that, Murphy?
Well, Romo came after John Gruden. Romo was the year after. He was 2002. Gruden was gone in 2001. But,
Romo was on the Super Bowl team. Oh, you know what?
And John Gruden wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So
my apologies.
No, here you go. You're good, man. So it just, yes, but that's John Gruden's mark. I mean, that's his MO. And so I don't think Al Davis had an MO, right? Everybody's got an MO in terms of team building. Bill Belichick.
What the hell does MO mean? I don't even know what that means.
A method of operation, right? So
I've never known that.
Yeah. So there's a way that they go about doing it. There's a strategy to it. Ted Thompson, Ron Wolf. You name it. Everybody's got a strategy in a way that they go about building a team. So, and this one is becoming signature to what John Gruden does. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's just, it is what it is, man. I don't care for that term, but yeah. So is it reflective of the team that he coached before with the Raiders? Sure, because it's John Gruden. I'll never forget. Here you go, as a quote one time. I don't know if you're a big Nirvana or Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters fan, but I remember one time in an interview, Dave Grohl was talking about people that were critical of him for writing music that was similar to Nirvana. And they were saying, all you do is your big drums and your big guitars and the screaming vocals and no solos. And he goes, didn't you guys forget I was in that band? That was my band. There was three of us in that band. I was a third of Nirvana. So you're going to be shocked that the Foo Fighters resemble a certain Nirvana song. It makes sense. It translates. It's the same guy. So John Gruden assembling a team that's mirroring what he did the first time he was in Oakland. Yeah, because he's John friggin' Gruden.
Correct. And the ultimate plan is to make money for the Raiders, bring back accountability, bring back a winning attitude, and let's be honest, sell some damn tickets in Vegas in 2020. So John Gruden technically does have a plan. It's just not be the one that I truly want him to have or anything else. All right. So you guys answer the question below. Who won that debate? I don't even know. Or does John Gruden have a plan? Let us know down below what you truly think it is, and we will get it. All right, Hard Knocks, what's going on? I've been waiting for this forever. Nothing's happening. I'm freaking out, Murf. No team apparently wants to be on it that I know of. No teams are volunteering that I know about it. Everybody loves the show in terms of players and coaches, but technically it feels like nobody wants to be on it. But everybody will watch it, but nobody wants to be on it. So I'm not going to ask, should the Raiders be on it, blah, blah, blah. We've already answered that. I'm going to ask you, should HBO's Hard Knocks be canceled?
No. It's a cash cow, man. No, they're not going to cancel any NFL programming at all. No, that's an easy answer. No.
Really, with all the teams that are apparently not even trying to be on the show, they don't want to be on it.
Doesn't matter. I mean, what are the ratings? That's what's important. It doesn't matter what the teams want. What matters is how many people watch it when it's on.
But if the NFL wants to respect the league and the league is not jumping in front of the cameras, you would think that the NFL would be like, you know what, for some reason, it's a distraction to them. And we got to respect that.
I think you're asking the wrong question. Should Hard Knocks be canceled? No, and it's not going to be. Not anytime soon. Neither is All or Nothing. Neither is anything. The NFL's goal is to get the most NFL football onto network or cable television, in this case, as they possibly can. So no. Should they cancel it? No, because too many people watch it.
I mean, I watch it, but apparently a lot of fans, again, of many teams don't want to be on it. And I'm just saying that is the voice. That's a voice of opinion. So I don't know. What's the right question to ask about this?
Do we want the Raiders to be on Hard Knocks?
Well, yeah, of course I do. I'm a film person. I love NFL films. So I want them on it I want them on it every year.
Me too. Absolutely. But there's a lot of fans that are like, no, it'll be too much of a distraction and all that, which I think is an overblown term anyways. But, these guys have cameras in their faces constantly. It doesn't, there's very little occurrence of a quote distraction in terms of this. But anyway, that's the question, because that's the question that's being debated. And, I'm with you. I think they should be, because I'm a freaking Raider nut. The more Raider programming that we can possibly get, the better.
What is your thought on this theory that it's actually a good distraction? Because maybe for the Raiders, if they are on it by chance, that, the personalities from Antonio, Incognito, Perfect, we can kind of see it on display before the actual season begins. So the coaching staff can witness the locker room, especially with cameras in front of their face, because there might be a little bit of turmoil, and maybe they can get a lock on it as early as possible and then try to fix it or, make the chemistry better before the actual season begins. Because when all eyes are on you, people either tend to be fake or they tend to be too real. And you can learn a lot about Antonio Brown, Incognito, Derek Carr as a leader, whether they're fake or they're going to be 100% real on the cameras, whether it's for show or not. So I don't know. It might be a good distraction in some aspect.
I think that's an amazing point. There's nothing left for me to say, because I totally agree. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we both won.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. I mean, hey, the more exposure, the better in terms of all these dynamics and these personalities. Yeah, there go ahead and think of how much Raider Nation speculates. Think about how much these stupid banter shows like First Take and all of them, or whatever the heck they are. Think about how much they stir up Raider Nation with these goofy ass opinions that they come up with. Well, if you're on Hard Knocks, there is no opinion to interpret. There's nothing to interpret. You see it. It's right there on TV. So I think it's a great point.
Correct. 100% correct. And I'm telling you, Vontaze Burfict and Antonio Brown will ball out on Hard Knocks. They will play great, they will look great, and they will sound great. And they might even give quotes like you gave me earlier from Deion Sanders. What is that quote again, Murf?
That quote is when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you play good.
That's right. And you know what? I want to see my Raiders on Hard Knocks. Get her done. All right. We've debated the Incognito signing on many shows, but we're going to do it here. But we're going to look at it from a different aspect in terms of, let's call it politics, if you will. And if you guys don't like it, sign off. I don't care. I'm not going to deal with you morons anymore. But I just want to know your opinion. Does the Raiders signing Richie Incognito prove the NFL blackballed certain players in the league?
No, on a couple of different fronts. Number one, I don't think that anybody was blackballed, whether it's Kaepernick or anybody else. Do I think that collectively 32 teams chose that they didn't want him on their football team? Yes. Do I think they colluded and went into a room somewhere and went, okay, nobody hired Colin Kaepernick? No, I don't think that happened at all. But I think that when you only got 32 places that you can work at this profession and do that job, and 32 of them didn't want you. So, I mean, I think that was entirely possible, but it wasn't because there was some formal agreement between teams to quote, keep him out. And then in terms of how it relates to Incognito, well, number one, it doesn't. And the reason why is that Richie Incognito, last time he was on the field, was good. Last time Colin Kaepernick played football, he sucked. And no one ever wants to bring that part of it up. And look, and I even respect a lot of what Kaepernick did. And I've said that on this show plenty of times. I think that there was a message to be sent, and I respect what he was doing, the goals behind what it was that he was trying to do, the messaging that he was trying to get out there. I understand it. I think it got lost, and I think that he got misguided, and I think that unfortunately it fell apart and turned into completely something unintended. But I respect a lot of what his initial initiative was, if that's a word. Can you say that? Initial initiative? Whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Where he was coming from, I got that. But he was terrible. He was an awful football player. He was not any good. And, he had that brilliant game against the Packers, and he ran for 180 yards and all that stuff. But then much like it happens with unique talents in the NFL at quarterback, defenses figure you out, and you're not as effective anymore. Let's hope it happens to Patrick Mahomes this next year, right? Like, it just happens. It doesn't matter if you're Tim Tebow, or it doesn't matter if you're Colin Kaepernick. It doesn't matter like a lot of these guys that have these like unique abilities, things that are different, that it doesn't translate year two because teams figure out a way to play you. So teams figured out a way to play him, and he was not good. He was not accurate. He was throwing interceptions all over the place. He was making bad decisions with the football, and that's why he doesn't have a job. So last time Incognito was on the field, he was a freaking Pro Bowler. So he spent a year out of football, and now he's back. We're going to see if he's got anything left in the tank. But these are two completely different situations that we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartly agree with you. If you could play in the NFL, they're gonna find a spot for you.
Yes.
But I still think that Colin Kaepernick is better than some third string quarterbacks on many rosters. That's all. I'm just going to debate that. But the debate about, Colin Kaepernick being blackballed, people say that, all he did was protest. And then Incognito had guns, threatened to, cut. I don't even want to mention what he, did. Had an attack with his grandmother, racist, homophobic slurs, whatever the case is. They're comparing those two instances. They're saying somebody tried to fight for equality and injustice, and then the other person is just plain psychotic and crazy. And then, in my opinion, it does prove that the NFL, whether it be the owners or Roger Goodell, they somehow blackballed, Colin Kaepernick. I'm just saying, whether Colin Kaepernick's true intentions are to play in this league or become a brand, that can be stated that he's becoming a brand now. Let's just get that right. But still, I think it did prove a little bit of collusion in terms of Colin Kaepernick. And it's kind of a sad look, in terms of politics, that somebody that wants to promote so-called injustice and all that, and then another player can have guns and racial homophobic slurs and still be in the league. But to your point, and I'm going to give it to you, you won this debate. If you can play in the NFL, and last time he played, he was a 2-time Pro Bowler, then you're going to have a shot in this league again. All right. What are your actual thoughts about Richie Incognito signing with the Raiders? How do you see him in the future? Does it bother you? Do you think there's rumors that he's only on the team to teach him to be tough, and then he'll be cut before the season? What are your thoughts on the Incognito signing for the Raiders?
I like it, man. We need to bring some nasty back to the line, and KO was that guy. He was that scrappy guy. He was that guy that would play to the echo of the whistle. He was that guy that would, come to Derek Carr's defense. Like, he was the, you know what I mean? Like, that was the guy, and he's gone now. So we needed somebody else to kind of fill that role. And, now if somebody comes over and gives Derek Carr a late shot, who do you think is going to be the first one in that defensive player's face protecting our freaking franchise quarterback? It's going to be this guy. So absolutely. I think that, every Wayne Gretzky has a Marty McSorley, right? So I absolutely think that this is a good move, and that whether he's there to be the mentor to young players like Brandon Parker and Colton Miller, or if he's there to actually occupy a roster spot and give them the best guard play they can squeeze out of them through this season until they address it at another point, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a need there, man. We have a need. That need was not addressed at all. And I think they wanted a guy like, and I mentioned Chris Lindstrom on this show. The Falcons ended up taking him really high, but I think they had a target on him. I think the Raiders wanted him to play guard. He balled out at the Senior Bowl. He's a next level kind of guard, man. He's a road grader. And I think the Raiders wanted him, but he wasn't around because he got drafted early. Like, it was like, I forget where the Falcons picked, but it was like in the teens somewhere, right?
I mean, I agree. Like, I ain't going to lie. Like, I love big bad boys on the offensive line. I just have that image in my head of football and, the big offensive line. And I love the signing, whether I agree with everything he does off the field. And he feels like a Barrett Robbins 2.0, like 20 years later for John Gruden. Yeah. As we spoke about earlier, I think Gruden is rebuilding the damn 1999-2000 Raiders, like inch for inch, mental disability for mental disability. Like he's doing it. He's doing it all again. But I love the Incognito signing. It will bring toughness. I don't think he'll be cut. Why would you bring on a player of that stature, take on all the feedback and the negativity just to cut him? To teach other players a lesson. I don't see that happening. But then here's the question. Mayock said during the draft that he was drafting character guys, humble people, leaders of the team. And then now all of a sudden, Incognito. Is this a Mayock free agency pickup, or this is a 100% Gruden said, or Tom Cable said, this is who they need?
I think it was a collective effort. There's no one person that's like standing on whatever, demanding that things happen. That's not how these guys work. This is a collective unit. They're working together. Everything that they've ever said tells you that. There's no subtext to their comments. Like, they are absolutely working together. And so I think this was a joint decision. And like Mayock said, you can't just have a team full of a bunch of Boy Scouts. You got to have a little bit of grit and toughness. And yes, you got to have strong character guys. And you look at everybody, like you mentioned, everybody that we drafted from, Abram, the Mullen and Josh Jacobs, and of course, Cleveland Farrell comes from a strong military family. I mean, like, there's a lot of character in our draft. Well, you balance that a little bit, right? Only a Sith deals in absolutes. There's a light side and a dark side, man. And you got to have a little bit, you know what I mean? You got to have a little bit of a gray Jedi in the middle, I guess. And that's what
I love that.
That's the character that you get when you put these folks together. So, you can't have a complete, gang of ruffians. You can't have Vontaze Burfict and Richie Incognito and a bunch of crazy, guys. But then you can't all just have, like Mayock said, a bunch of Boy Scouts either. But guys like, Derek Carr, who I love Derek Carr, and I love his passion for Christ, and I love the fact that he preaches, and I love all that stuff. But if you got 11 choir boys on your offense, I don't know if that's a good dynamic either. Like, you got to have a little bit of everything. So I think it's great.
Are they even called the Boy Scouts anymore? I heard some rumblings that they're going to be like, like Scouts or
I
something.
don't know, whatever. We'll just call them choir boys then. You can't have a team of 22 choir boys, man. It doesn't work either.
This world is insane right now. But I love how Mayock said it was a collective decision, whether it was or not. You guys can debate that until the cows come home. But I loved how the Raiders got in front of it, and he just said, "Look, we're gonna take all the negativity. We're just gonna do it. I'm telling you guys, we can't have scouts on the team. We're gonna take it. We made a collective decision." I love how Mayock is transparent. That's a little bit different than Gruden was, at least last year, and I love it. I love watching it. And then last thing, does Incognito get suspended by the league?
Yeah, who knows? Nobody knows, right? So we'll find out, and that's definitely going to play into the dynamic.
I think with all the feedback from reporters and fans calling for Incognito's head and saying the Raiders are, the worst decision makers and everything, I think the NFL, just to save face, to prove that it's not a blackball against Colin Kaepernick, I think they're going to suspend him somehow. I really do. I don't know. Hey, that's Mikey's point of view.
You got to quit relating it to Kaepernick, man. They don't have anything to do with each other.
No, I just meant you get it to save face, because people are saying, why isn't Kaepernick in the league? And Incognito is.
Who's saying that?
Oh, dude, it's all over the Twitterverse, dude.
Yeah, Twitter.
Hatred against the Raiders, Incognito.
Yeah. 20% of the population is on Twitter, and 2% of that 20% tweets. So you think about that, Raider Nation. Think about when you hear opinions on Twitter, you're getting 2% of 20%. That's it. Like, it ain't nobody.
That sounds like the milk they want me to drink, like 2 and 20% or something like that. It sounds like the milk the doctors tell me to drink. Don't drink none of that whole milk. You got to drink the 2.20%. Whatever. Yeah. All right. I asked this question because Mark Davis and the Raiders are moving to Vegas. We got the toughest schedule in the league. There's clearly an Oakland bias from my perspective. Gruden came back to the Raiders. Hard Knocks is a possibility. Does the NFL own Mark Davis because he got loans through the NFL and their banks? And I'm just asking the question, is the NFL right now currently dictating the Raiders' path for the future?
No. Their influence has already been established based on their approvals for the relocation. And yes, if there was any additional financing, I don't think the NFL financed the Raiders. There's been no evidence of that. It's only been speculation on Twitter. And I just told you how I feel about Twitter speculation. So there's only been speculation, but there's no evidence of that. But is it perfectly within reason to think, if you're an NFL owner and you say, hey, other 31 NFL owners and commissioner and everybody else involved, I want to move my team to Nevada and I need you to tell me that it's okay. And they said, all right, we'll tell you it's okay for you to move to Nevada, but you got to be willing to play some international games. You got to be willing to be considered for hard knock. You got to be open to some things that we need as well. Because if we're going to scratch your back, we're going to need you to scratch ours. Absolutely. Now, are they managing the team day to day? Was this scheduling? Was it the NFL's way of taking advantage of the Raiders because of some favorite? No, I don't think any of those things correlate. But do I think there was something to the idea of, look, we're going to do this for you Raiders, and you have to be willing to make some concessions also? Yeah, and it was worth it to Mark Davis because guess what? He's got a $1.84 billion stadium that he's getting ready to move into, something that literally his father could not accomplish in his lifetime. Then Mark Davis has gotten it done. So you can be critical of Mark all you want. You can be critical of the Raiders and critical of the league. Everybody can be critical all you want. All you 2% and 20% on Twitter can all criticize the crap out of the Raiders. But at the end of the day, the truth is Mark Davis accomplished something that he and his father never did, and very, very few NFL owners accomplish. So he did all that, and yes, did he give up a couple of concessions on the way? Probably. So I don't think that should be any surprise to anybody.
Al Davis couldn't get the stadium because Al Davis was not Mark Davis is he lied in bed with the devil from my perspective. And I think clearly the NFL is dictating the rate. Oh, you're going to have to get rid of that curse word. I'm sorry about that.
Well,
yeah. And I clearly think the Raiders, the NFL is dictating the Raiders' path. Mark Davis wanted to be a businessman. He wanted to join the big boys club, and they're taking full advantage of it. And clearly the NFL has a bias against the city of Oakland, and they're proving that by taking away games every year, whether it be at home or then we got to travel abroad. And they're basically just trying to hurry us out of Oakland from my perspective.
Can I jump in on you? And I'm going to have to bleep myself.
Yeah.
If we end up with a successful team and win a championship or get good on a regular basis, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, none of this, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of this matters. Like, all I care about are wins. Like, are we going to be more competitive on the field? None of the rest of this stuff matters. What dealings go on, but inside the buildings.
It's the off season. We got to talk about something. Come on, Murf. Stop hating on my backwards view of the NFL. Come on. This is a talk show. Let's talk. Relax. Everybody can see. Yeah, Mikey. It's all about the win.
Hey,
Mikey.
You said you wanted a debate. Well, there you go. There's my counterpoint. Who cares?
That's not a debate. That's a cop-out, brother. That's a cop-out. But I think the NFL is dictating the Raiders' path. I really do. I think they're trying to create the future or help it along. And I don't know if I truly have an issue with it, because we're going to get stadium and hopefully be winning, and it's fun right now. But I don't like corporations bugging into teams and taking over, and kind of like YouTube is right now with censorship. I don't like it, but it's going to happen. All right, apparently who cares? Whatever. Murf won. Moving on. There's the schedule. We just got to look at it and go, what the heck happened? Look at that. In gray, 7 games on the road. Ugh. Why would you do that? Why would you keep them away from Oakland in the prime time? Halloween, especially? Come on, like, why? Raiders and Halloween go together. What are they thinking? All right. Derek Carr. Is he the best quarterback in NFL Raider history, or will he be by 2020? Stat-wise, everything else-wise.
All right. So as far as stat-wise, yes. Whether anybody likes it or not doesn't matter, because probably by the end of this year, he will be the leading passer in every significant category in terms of the Raiders. He's going to eclipse Stabler on just about everything. Now, Stabler is my favorite player. Stabler was and a lot of the 70s Raiders were my superheroes growing up. So, Snake, Foo, Sis-Drunk, the Man from Mars, the Soul Patrol, Assassin, Dr. Death, you name it. You guys know them all. Those were my superheroes. So I have a love for those players and that era of the Raiders that goes way beyond just being a fan of this football team. So I don't think Carr's going to reach the iconic level that Stabler is. Stabler is, I don't want to call it godly because that's overblowing it, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's a mystique to Kenny Stabler. There's, studying the playbook by the jukebox light, all that stuff. And, and being the hard charging partier, but the guy that would go and win you a miraculous comeback on Sunday. And like, the mystique of Kenny Stabler, I don't think is ever going to be eclipsed by Derek Carr. And especially nowadays with the coverage that these players have, like there's no mystery to Derek Carr. There's no mystery to anybody else that wears a uniform. There was a mystery to Kenny Stabler. There was a mystery to those guys that wore the silver and black back in the 70s. So, I love Derek Carr a lot. And again, I'm proud he's our quarterback. I'm proud of his off the field antics and behavior and the way he conducts himself and his faith and all that. I love the way he plays. He's our guy and I like him, but I don't think he'll ever reach that Kenny Stabler level for me. Now for my kids, maybe, because they don't know Kenny Stabler other than what dad's told them, right?
Yeah, so I put the little bit of the stats on screen. Heading into the 2019, Carr is already the franchise leader in all-time attempts at 2,800. Completion percentage was 62.8 and 240 yards per game. And in total completions, he has 1,759. Carr is only 340 yards away from breaking 340 yards, breaking Stabler's all-time passing yards record of 19,078. Which is a total that should be reached by Derek Carr during the first 2 games of the season, maybe even week 1 on Monday Night Football versus Denver. I'm down for that. Carr will have to put together a year in that category, as he would need 29 total touchdowns to pass Stabler's mark of 150 in a career. Carr could do over 30 touchdowns, and he might pass Stabler in that mark as well. So, from my perspective, I think Carr will end up being the best quarterback stat-wise and record-wise in Raiders history, even surpassing whatever records Gannon had that we just saw on screen. But in terms of faith, family, fun, Derek Carr is just a unique outlier, and he's saying and doing all the right things. So, yeah, the lords of the bad boy quarterbacks of Snake, Plunkett, and everything, who definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Derek Carr is slowly surpassing everybody. And I think down the road, Derek Carr will be just as much respected in voice as Kenny the Snake Stabler and Jim Plunkett and Daryl LaMonica. I think down the road, Derek Carr's legacy has been built, and it's definitely going to be built in 2020. And he will be the Vegas quarterback. We are not going to draft Tua. What do you think about that, Murphy?
Well, of course he's going to be our quarterback. He's going to be a quarterback till he retires. Derek Carr ain't going anywhere, man.
Should he get a tattoo like I spoke about? Should he get a tattoo to prove it?
I don't know. He's got some tattoos, but yeah, look, as long as he's hitting numbers, he's not gonna go anywhere. And this guy was a freaking MVP in 2016 before he got his leg broken. Like, let's not forget about that, how good he was, man. And you put some weapons around him, he's going to be just fine. So as long as he's playing well, he's not going anywhere. So Derek Carr's the least of our worries. He's going to be our quarterback for 10 more years.
I'm on the Carr page. Last year I was hurting. This year I'm playing with Carr. All right. So quick answers. What area did the Raiders most improve in from your perspective this year?
Area being defense, secondary, most importantly.
I'm going to say the Raiders improved in terms of fandom and faith again after the draft, because last year in the rebuild stage, it was just horrific. I mean, some of you guys tried to stay positive, but you were freaking out just like I was. So this year, in terms of fandom, faith, and let's call it excitement, I think they most improved in that aspect in terms of us. What are the biggest team needs still to date?
Interior of the offensive line. I mean, Gabe Jackson is pretty darn good. Rodney Hudson is probably the best player at his position on our whole football team, but Incognito is not a long-term solution. And again, I think they had other plans in the draft to address guard, but they didn't get an opportunity to. So Incognito's a Band-Aid at best. I mean, he's do you get 2 years out of him even? I don't even think that. I think he's like a 1-year guy. So, yeah, I think offensive line is still a big deal. I was actually surprised they didn't pull another tackle. I know we ended up drafting signed Trent Brown, and that was a big deal. But I fully expected there to be an offensive lineman drafted at some point in the draft. And, clearly they weren't. They're comfortable with what they got. But there was no movement there at that position. So I think interior.
Yeah, that's a good point. Again, I go on the outskirts, different directions. I think the biggest team need to date is an actual leader, a face of the franchise. We had it from Derek Carr in 2016. Everybody, no matter who you were, whether they had opinions like Derek Carr, every single person looked at him as the man. And I hope that comes back by anybody. But, man, that was an amazing feeling because we all felt it when Derek Carr got injured. Even Raider Nation and the fans go, that is our dude, whether he's the leader on offense or he was the Raider. And he got injured and we went, man. And I don't know if that's ever going to come back, that feeling, but I hope they do. And I hope it's either Antonio Brown. I hope it's Derek Carr, where everybody feeds off of him, or Vontaze Burfict. I don't care who, but, man, one face of the entire franchise that you just love, respect wholeheartedly for their work ethic, their on-the-field play, their off-the-field charity events. I think we still need it. So everybody on the team has an opportunity to go get it in this training camp. So I hope somebody does it. That's my team need. Biggest questions going into the camps and preseason?
I think pass rush, probably. Are we going to develop enough of a pass rush with Cleveland Farrell? Does Arden Key take that next step? Do we get big interior push from guys like Mo Hurst and PJ Hall? And so I think that, it's all, your number one thing you want to do is you need to get a franchise quarterback for your team. And then the second goal for your team is you got to get after the other team's franchise quarterback. That's 1 and 2. So we've got one, but do we get to number 2? I don't know. It's all signs point towards it that we're going to be much improved. But we'll see. Is Max Crosby going to be ready to take a step this early in his career? Or does he need to bulk up much more? Who knows? We'll see. But they addressed it. They addressed the pass rush. Now we'll just see if these young players are able to execute. I think our biggest jump is going to be Mo Hurst. I think he's going to be an all-world player. That probably a little bit of fandom talking in me. I don't think he's going to be an Aaron Donald, but I think he's going to be a very impactful, heavy pressure type D tackle. I just see that I think that because of the heart issue that he had, which was not even a heart issue, was completely misplayed by the entirety of the league. I am shocked still to this day that he fell to the 5th round. I think the Raiders absolutely stole him. You want to talk about a high character, high producing individual. This guy is going to freaking rock it this year. I think he takes a big jump. And then the last thing I'll say about it is that also having defensive line coach Brenson Buckner, he's the man. Brenson Buckner's awesome. And I think that he's going to mentor these young men and get them to maximize their talent. And we're going to see a big improvement, man. But it's a question, right? We don't know. I can sit here and talk about how cool it would be, but it doesn't mean anything unless we see it, in 3 months.
Yeah. The biggest questions going in this year's camp is in terms of the NFL. I'm going to say, I want to see what players hold out, what players are trying to get a new contract and all that other stuff. And I don't think the Raiders will have any, but there are a few players on the Raiders that could technically hold out if they want to try to be traded. I'm just going to say maybe Carl Joseph, because he didn't get his 5th-year option. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to have to play out his contract and go into free agency. But I just want to see, what happens with players showing up onto the field. And, we're going to find out about some true injuries once training camp actually starts. Because some of them might have happened during OTAs that we truly don't have the actual answer for. And I'm hoping for the best. And then in terms of the preseason, I'm hoping Antonio Brown plays. I still think it's a stupid decision to not let him play at least one game, one quarter, or a series or two in the preseason. The reports were that he's not going to play, and it pisses me off. I don't know. You can speak on that if you want.
No, I don't think it's important. I don't get caught up in preseason. That's a way to evaluate the bottom ends of your roster. I don't think it's important at all.
You think preseason should be shortened, like Roger Goodell's been talking about?
I think so. And the reason that I think so is because the coaches tell you that. The coaches tell you, I only need 2. I need 2 preseason games and a scrimmage. So I trust the guys that do it for a living much more so than I trust me who does a podcast once a week. So, I mean, I think so. I think we're going to see it. I don't know if we're going to see an extension to the regular season or not, because the players union is going to have something to say. Should they try to push that? But we might see an expansion of the playoffs. Because the NFL's goal is to get it into February. They want to get deeper
for the holiday weekend.
They want to get deeper into February. So they're going to eventually, that's going to happen. So how they're going to get there, if you reduce the preseason games down, Players Association buys off on that, because you're going to give them then 2 additional wild card teams or whatever it is that you do to expand the playoffs. Okay, I can see all that happening. It's not going to happen next year, but within 3-5 years, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to try a game now. It's called Rapid Fire. We're going to attempt to ask 10 questions to Murf and me, where we both give the answers within 1 minute. We're actually going to have a timer on screen, so we're going to hopefully get 10 answers to 10 questions from Murf and Mike, who like to both talk a lot. We're going to try to get 10 answers to 10 questions from both of us in under 1 minute. Are you down for this game, Rapid Fire, Murf?
Okay.
All right, let's get the Rapid Fire.
Who's going first? Hold on. Who's going first?
It'll I'll ask the question, and then it'll go to you, and then back to me. Then I'll ask the question. It'll go back to you,
okay,
and so forth.
Got it.
All right, let's get the Rapid Fire Raider music on in the background. All right, turn it a little bit louder. All right, let's get the clock going. And let me start the clock. There we go. The clock is going. And the first question is your all-time worst Raider conspiracy game.
Immaculate Deception.
Mine is the Tuck Rule. Oh, I'm sorry, the Super Bowl Sabotage. Crazier fan base, the Black Hole or Bills Mafia?
Black Hole.
I'm going to say Bills Mafia. I think Raider Nation is awesome. I don't call them crazy. Josh Jacobs, will he have over 1,000 rushing yards rushing?
Yes.
Yes, he will. Will Derek Carr return to MVP form this year?
Yes.
I 100% agree. What's your favorite game time food?
Pizza.
Mine is chicken wings. Will Marshawn come back to the NFL?
No.
Explain the Antonio Brown and Derek Carr chicken plan. Work and eat. Give me we got how many wins or better are we?
How many are we better than 6 and 10? Well, you got, I don't know if I understand the question. was the last one, right?
Exactly. We lost. We lost.
Wait,
we lost.
How many wins better are we 4-2? Oh, so how many better than we are than 4-2? Okay, 4.
How many wins better are we than 4-12 in 2018?
4, 8-8.
So you say 8-8. I believe I'm going to go with 4, maybe 5 as well. But we lost, or I lost the first game. I tried to get it in under a minute. We weren't able to.
I think I'm not trying to compete with you here, Mikey. You know I love you. But I think oddly enough, I think my answers were shorter than yours, which is usually not the case.
It's true. It's true. Plus, I had to ask the question, so I had more talking and thinking.
Oh, there you go. Well, maybe next time you send me 5 questions, and then I'll answer and then shoot it over to you.
Sounds good to me, brother.
That was fun, though. I liked it.
Yeah, that wasn't actually the final question, so we'll get to it.
Oh, no. What was it?
Okay. In fantasy football, we got through, I think, 8 or 6 questions or 7 questions. In fantasy football, what Raiders should be drafted in round 1?
Josh Jacobs.
I wholeheartedly disagree. It should be Antonio Brown if you are going to draft a Raider in round 1. We all know that all you do is draft Raiders.
Yes.
There's none available. So, and then the last question was, and this would make some superfan mad, who was your favorite Raider superfan?
You know what? We met Gorilla at the draft, and I told him that it was him and Wayne, who you have on screen right there, him and Wayne the Violator. They're 1 and 1A. Like, I couldn't literally, it's like picking between my kids. I literally could not pick between the two of them who is my favorite super fan. But I will tell you this, and this is not taking a shot at anybody else, but after Wayne and Gorilla, after Mark, after those two guys, everyone else is playing for 3rd place. Like, it's not even close. Like, it's those two and then everyone else. And there's great ones. You had Kukui on there, and you know what I mean? And we know plenty of them, and I have a lot of respect for them.
Good thing we don't got a timer.
I know, see, but I know that I'm not timed. I go quick. I don't have to go quick. But yeah, it's everyone else is playing for 3rd or whatever. But they're playing for after these two guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Violator was the one I saw on TV like in the 80s and 90s. And I remember him and when I finally met him, it was like Jesus to me. It's like, oh my God, you're the Violator. You're the dude I saw in LA all the time. And then Gorilla, befriended me, made a video for his wedding, a little funny video on my show. And they're both great, but it's not a competition. But I mean, Violator was the one image that I had of a super fan.
Yeah.
And I met him, and he's a great guy as well.
That's cool.
They all are. All right, let's get into our draft review a month and a half late. Let's see if the screen wants to ever do its little wavy line graphic. There we go. Yeah, I feel like Wayne's World. He does this every weekend. See, it went off. I don't know what happened.
Ooh, now we're all wavy.
Yeah, let's hope it stopped. My computer has been having issues recently. Okay, so this is the draft review from a month and a half ago, and let's get to some draft questions. Give me your instant reactions for round 1. Was Pharrell a reach, and your Josh Jacobs reaction?
I wouldn't call Farrell a reach. Do I think the Raiders drafted him higher than they would have liked to have had? Yes, but in order to trade down, you have to have somebody to be willing to trade with you. And there was nobody available for the Raiders to trade down with. So they took the guy that they had marked that they wanted. So was it jarring to all of us in the moment? Absolutely. It was jarring to me. I didn't expect him to take Clelin Ferrell. When Josh Allen was sitting on the board, everybody thought that was the direction it was going to go. That's not the direction that it went. But since then, and now having an opportunity to really dig in to who Clelin Ferrell is, what he brings to the table, I'm 100% on board with the pick. I think that it's great.
And then Josh Jacobs' reaction?
Love Josh Jacobs. That was phenomenal. Alabama running backs typically do pretty well. The ones that aren't named Trent Richardson anyways, when they get to the league and, with the dual threat that he is running and catching, plus his pass protection, high character. What else do you want, man, in a player? And the Raiders clearly had a need there. So I think that was awesome. And then for the last one in the first round, pulling Jonathan Abram out of Mississippi State, man, again, same thing, high level, high character, big guy. So we don't have the lollipop kids back there in the defensive secondary. And we got a big guy that's going to bring it. He's going to hit hard. I love it, man. I fully embrace everything the Raiders did in this draft. I think pretty much top to bottom, even Bell at the end, because that was Mayock showing out, trying to stump the truck, which is freaking hilarious. So, this was a perfect draft to me. Drafted big corners. This was a very Raider draft, man. But I think a very well-played Raider draft. It wasn't just, let's not sugarcoat it there at the end with Al, man. He was just, taking wild shots at players, man. He was just grabbing guys like Darius Hayward-Bay and, hoping for the best. And a lot of times it didn't work out. You know what I mean? So it feels like this time we're drafting very Raidery type players, but it's very calculated. It's not just like, hey, that guy's fast, that guy's big, that guy's strong, let's get him.
It felt good, yeah. And then to speak on Al Davis, whether, he was back crazy in his older age or not, whether Terrell Pryor was the greatest or not, Al Davis had his pulse on the college-type quarterbacks that are now in the league 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So you got to give Al Davis a little bit of credit, where because that was Terrell Pryor was Al Davis's last pickup. And then he also went with players like Jamarcus Russell, trying to continue the long arm of the league. So I respect it. I thought Cleveland Farrell was a reach, but again, if they got their guy, it's not a reach. We didn't expect it. It was a shock to me. But now that being said, they want him not only to be a third down rushing player, maybe like Josh Allen, they want him to be an every down player and move across the line if need be. And Farrell fits that thing. And then Josh Jacobs, I wanted a running back in the first round. I knew we were going to get him, and that was my instant reaction to him. So the actual news reports were pretty good for the Raiders draft, but there was the ones that said they turned a lot into a little on draft day, making fun of us and our decisions. You know how that goes. So then just quickly review, any of these other players and what you think about him, Murphy?
I love the big corner and Trayvon Mullen. I thought that was a great day. We were right down there in front of the draft stage on day 2. I was down there with my kids. It was phenomenal watching the Raiders trade back a couple times. Then Charles Woodson comes out, follows the precedent of wishing everybody happy Mother's Day, like Willie Brown did for so many years. That was a great day. So picking Mullen in round 2 was fantastic. Max Crosby, man, that's a nice look back to maybe what Ted Hendricks once was. So that was pretty cool. Foster Moreau met him at the Senior Bowl, so feel really good about that one. That was pretty neat. And then Hunter Renfrow, dude, pulling him in the 5th round. I said this on Raiders Fan Radio, I'm not an analyst, man. I don't break down film. I don't, you know what I mean? I played football and coached youth football and all that, but I'm not I'm not Ted Wynn over here, right? I don't know the complete ins and outs of footwork and all that kind of stuff. But I do know this. I love football, and I watch a lot of football, and I watch a lot of college football along with pro football. And every time I watch Clemson win championships, Hunter Renfrow was catching freaking touchdown passes. So, he was the guy on their offense, balling out. So the fact that they got this guy, and I don't know if his skills translate to the NFL or not, but all I know is he was really good playing on a really good college football team, winning freaking championships. So, yeah, we'll take him. You know what I mean? What... That's great. In the 5th round?
With a guy named Hunter, sounds pretty good to me. He's going to hunt the ball. I like that. And then the rumors are, again, I don't know if it's real or not, but he was high on the Patriots board in that 5th round. And that was the round where, if you guys remember, the Raiders traded up into that 5th round in front of the Patriots, where the Patriots like to pick those type of players. Yep. And they actually picked in front of the Patriots, and the rumor is they picked Hunter Renfrow, and we stole him from the Patriots. So that's a little bit of strategy that many people might not know or heard about. So I love the draft. It looks good. Give me your instant grade, if you will, real quickly for this draft.
I don't know. These are so, you can't, man. I'll tell you in 3 years, so A+.
Yeah, I give it an A to an A+. I loved it and it felt good. It feels right now. Let's look at our mock draft results.
Oh, yeah.
Our final mock draft.
How do we
results.
do?
I believe this one is, did I write it? Okay, this one is mine. I had Josh Allen going at 4, and that didn't happen. I had Greedy Williams at 24. Then I had Jacobs at 27. And I got nothing else right. I even had us getting a quarterback to mess up the NFL experts at the end of the draft. But Jared Stidham wasn't available. But I got one right, but at the wrong position. So let's look at how Murf did. There's your final results. You had Cleveland Farrell going to the Raiders. You didn't have Josh Jacobs, but you had Cleveland Farrell going at 24. And
yeah, because I had Holyfield there at the end. I knew they were going to take a running back, but I didn't think Jacobs was going to be around. Wow. So, but it's funny because I clearly I didn't hit on any of these except for Farrell. But
Clemson.
Well, it hit the Clemson and the position, so Adderley, right, at 27. I picked the big safety, but we got Abram instead, right? So I hit that one there. Rock Ya-Sin, big corner. I missed him, but that's where we got Mullen at, right? So, and then there's the interior lineman I was looking for, which I can't believe still that we didn't get that. But then there's Keyshawn Johnson instead of Hunter Renfrow. So it kind of felt position-wise and player type-wise, I wasn't that far off, so I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I wasn't as far off as I expected this was going to be. I thought this was going to be a disaster, but it wasn't that bad.
Hey, let me look back at mine. We got an edge. We got a cornerback in the draft. We got a running back. We got a tight end.
Yeah.
We got an edge. We got a safety. We didn't get a quarter. All right, you won. It's all good.
Pretty close. You did good too, man.
Pretty close. All right, so your favorite pick in the draft.
Wow, favorite. I'd have to pick between Abram and Josh Jacobs. One on each side of the ball, man. If you force me to pick between the two of them, I'd probably have to go Abram, just because I'm a huge fan of the safety position, and I think that the Raiders have such a cool legacy at that position with Atkinson and Tatum and Charles Woodson when he came the second time, and not so much Michael Huff and Tyvon Branch, although they flashed, but there's just been Eddie Anderson, you know what I mean? You think about all the great Raider safeties that we've had. So I'm gonna go with Jonathan Abram. I think that he's gonna bring some toughness, some hard hitting, So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I like the Josh Jacobs pick. I just like having a star offensive stat player on the team, especially early in the draft, that could possibly be an MVP, have over 1,000 yards, be the rookie of the year. I really like that. That's my favorite pick. And then I'll give my most concerning pick, and then you give me yours. My most concerning pick, it's going to have to be the tight end, Foster Moreau. I just don't know if he has the ability and the wherewithal to be a blocking tight end and a true studded receiver, because I want a Gronk type and I want a Jared Cook type, but Jared Cook was better at passing. I just don't know if he has all the skill traits necessary to be starting tight end. He might be a starting tight end at one position, whether it be blocking or catching. I just don't know if he has both. That's my most concerning pick in terms of a tight end. Yours, Murph?
Yeah, so, this is a weird way to answer the question, but I think my most concerning is also a pick. I still like it, but it does concern me in terms of Crosby. And the only reason I say it's concerning is that, now look, he's been a fan favorite here early on, from this, his rap battles in the locker room to, what I mean? His comment, he's a funny guy. People are saying that Mark Davis said that he reminds him of Ted Hendricks, the Mad Stork. And so I like what he represents, but all things said, and he's got some scrap to him and everything, but he's kind of, I don't want to say he's undersized, but he's got a lot of development to go in terms of strength. And so he's a project, right? He's not going to Now, I don't know how much you would expect a 4th-round pick to have an impact early on anyways. And clearly there's, again, a calculated risk there or a calculation to drafting him. But I don't think that we're going to see him have any kind of immediate impact to the team like the 4 guys that are in front of him. You know what I mean? Because we're going to see even Mullen have an impact. You know what I mean? He's a big corner, man, and you got to have big corners nowadays to cover your tight ends. And, guess who's going to be on Travis Kelce? You know what I'm saying? So, I see the immediate impact more so. And again, he's a 4th rounder, so I don't want to be overly critical of it. But, I think that as far as concerning goes, yeah, because I think the guy's got a long way to go.
All right. How many starters or any actual starters day one from this list?
4.5. I think that if you consider 3 corners a starter, then I think Mullen gets in there because, again, like I mentioned, he's going to come in to cover tight ends. But certainly the 3 guys, I mean, that's a slam dunk. So Farrell, Jacobs, and Abram are definitely going to be there. But the half one I threw in there is Renfrow, because now look, the wide receiver room is crowded, and so when you look at obviously it's going to be AB and Tyrell Williams there, 1 and 2. But does Renfrow compete with JJ Nelson there for the slot already? Probably, I would think so. Like Nelson's going to be like, to me, he's going to be their surgical tool, right? He's going to be like very specific, go in there, run a 9 route, blow the top off the defense. Like that's going to be his goal. Renfrow is going to be the guy that gets in there and starts, running those inside routes. You know what I mean? Converts a 3rd and 6 for 7 yards and lays down in the middle of the field after he catches the ball. Like that's going to be his role. And so I think that he's going to be in there quick. And I don't know if, again, the immediate starting 11, if he's there, but he's going to get action early. So what do you think?
Pretty much same as you. I think 4 for sure. I'm going to say Cleveland Farrell, Josh Jacobs, Abram, and I'm sticking with Renfrow. I think he'll beat everybody out. He's got the bigger name, but it is anybody's competition. Let's just get that right. All right, players that were not drafted that you really, really wanted.
Chris Lindstrom out of Boston College. I've talked a lot about him, and he was by far the best guard at the Senior Bowl, and the Atlanta Falcons thought so too, and so they drafted him high, and he was a perfect fit for what we needed, and so I was really rooting for him to be a Raider. And there was a couple other players too that were down at the Senior Bowl that we got to look at firsthand that I was rooting for, but by far he was the most, because we had such a need there. You know what I mean? So that was a perfect fit for need and player, but sadly it didn't happen.
Yeah, I fell in love with Irv Smith for some reason at the tight end position. I really liked Jared Cook, and I wanted a player of that caliber. And for some reason, I saw the name Irv Smith Jr. on the back of Raider jerseys, like a legacy. I don't know why. I just saw it. Maybe because it's based on his father or somebody like that, but I just saw it, and I really wanted him to be a part of the team. And you already gave your draft grade, so we already gave that. All right, now let's regrade the 2018 draft. Oh, real quickly, what did you think of Jack Del Rio going on NFL Network and giving a thumbs down to the Raiders and selecting Cleveland Farrell? There you go.
Did you lose me, Mikey?
I did for a second. I said, what did you think of Jack Del Rio giving a thumbs down on NFL Network to the Raiders and drafting Cleveland Farrell?
I think Jack Del Rio's a tool. I think he's another sour grapes individual that leaves the Raiders and uses his platform to take shots back at him. I don't like this man.
Yeah, well, he is mad. They fired him and all that other stuff. But, yeah, I agree. It's just he's been taking shots ever since. And he's still on the payment roster this year. Some of his staff members as well. Very scary. Regrade the 2018 draft class now that you've had a year in, and what players are on the bubble from your perspective from Gruden's draft?
Well, Nelson, Johnny Townsend, Azim Victor, Marcel Aitman, because that wide receiver room is so crowded. I think Miller, Hall, and Parker and Key and Hurst are definitely safe. I think Hurst, as I mentioned earlier, he's gonna He's going to really take a big jump this year. They say that tackles make their big jump in year 2. Again, if you listen to all the pros, we'll tell you. So we're going to expect good things out of Colton Miller. What happens to Brandon Parker? Does he pull a Robert Gallery and go from being a questionable tackle to being a pretty good guard? I don't know. We'll find out. PJ Hall, I think, is interesting. I think he's still got room for improvement, but this is going to be a make it or break it year for him. I hate to say that about a guy only in year 2, but with Jelly Ellis and who else? Eddie Vanderdoes, who is still questionable. Like, we need the kid that was a second round pick to show out, and it's going to be him and Hurst, right? It will be you would think would be our 2 starting interior defensive tackles. So, so I would expect things from him. So to regrade it, I don't know, because you freaking stole Hurst, man. So that's a freaking A+++. So, so that really kind of cancels out some of the others. And what do you really expect from a 5th round punter, a 6th round linebacker and a 7th round wide receiver? You never expect those players to be all that great anyways. Nick Nelson is kind of meh. And then Arden Key, could he be, he's still kind of unproven. He's got all the physical traits. So I don't know, a B, I would say at this point. But again, give me 2 more years and then before I can really give you a fair answer.
Yeah, I think I gave it a C+ in the beginning. I'm moving it down to a C- because Colton Miller, look, he was a starter, but he wasn't a good one. He was basically ranked in the backup depth.
Only after
Go on.
Only after he got hurt, though, man. You can't ever judge a player when he's gotten hurt. You can't do it. They did.
Well, I'm going by the. Sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay. My apologies. That's what you think about. As simple as a player like Kurt Warner, who was a backup in freaking New York, and everybody said he was going to be out of the league, and then he goes to Arizona and takes the freaking Cardinals of all teams to a Super Bowl. Like, you can't judge players when they're hurt. And Colton Miller got hurt, man, and that's when his stats suffered, and that's when he suffered. And I get, look, did it hurt the team overall that he was playing through the injury? Yeah. Did they have any other options? I don't know. I don't think so. It was kind of the forced scenario, but I don't think we can begrudge him for his play last year. I think he did pretty good, all things considered.
I'm just saying the stats. I'm not a statistician, but he was drafted at the 15th pick, and he was the 86th or 88th ranked left or tackle in the entire league. So that's backup if there's only 32 teams. So you guys can figure that one out. PJ Hall, he played good. Did he live up to a 2nd round pick? No. That's my perspective. Brandon Parker, did he live up to the 3rd round? Yeah, he did. He started a few games, so he's good. Our Arden Key, potential was there. Didn't happen. He struggled. He had nobody else. Let's just get that right to help him. Nick Nelson played pretty darn good for a 4th round pick. Maurice Hurst, the stud of the group with 4 sacks. Johnny Townsend, I don't know what's going on with that pick. That thing is not looking good stat-wise. And Azim Victor is no longer on the team. He is, I believe, with the Patriots. I'm not sure about that, but he's no longer with the team. And then Marcel Aitman had some good games. So overall, I bumped it down to a C- because of the Colton Miller, reach, if you will, at that position. And then players that are on the bubble that I could see maybe by 2020 not even being on this team, I'm going to go with players like Brandon Parker, Johnny Townsend, and Marcel Aitman. Brandon Parker might make it long-term as depth, but I don't think Johnny Townsend is going to make the team. And then I think Marcel Aitman's going to be in the dust somewhere along the way soon. That's it.
I don't think Townsend's going to make it through camp. Like, unless something major happens, unless there's some big change. First, 2 things, Raider Nation. Number 1, he's probably not going to make it through camp. And number 2, no, Marquette King is not coming back. Thankfully.
He should, though. I mean, if the Raiders are, that's a good point, man. I think from my perspective, if you're allowing people like Incognito, Antonio Brown, and all that, why not bring back Marquette King, one of the best punters for the Raiders?
Because those guys didn't insult the head coach.
That's true, but he apologized. And
gives a crap if he apologized. He bit the hand that fed him. He's an idiot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. I could see it happening, but it probably won't. Any undrafted free agent players that you believe will make the team? And I'll show you a list.
Yeah, so I got the same list here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like I like Ronald. You don't have Ollie on this list.
Oh, that's right. He was training camp bring in that they signed.
Yeah, I like it because I'm a big fan of Last Chance U. I love that show, and he was the star of season 1 of that show. And
Ronald Ollie's cool.
Yeah, he's great, man. And so I'm rooting for him just because of that, just because of kind of, he's like a big kid, man, and the knock against him was that, he could never really get his head into the game and fully invest in it. And, he had a lot of, talk about like how Josh Jacobs had a tough story, and so did Ali, man. He really had a lot of challenges growing up, and I won't revisit them because it's pretty tragic, man. Some of the stuff that he had to go through as a kid. So it's fully understandable why he was, not all the way there and invested mentally into the sport, but all signs pointed that he has at this point now that he is all in. And if you going all the way back to that show, and I forget what the little school is, Nichols State, I want to say, is where he ended up going after that show. All those coaches would say he's got all of the physical gifts to be great. It was just the mental aspect of it, and that's
so Ronald Ollie. You believe he'll make
Ollie? Yeah. Well, let me put it like this: he's the one I'm rooting for. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but he's definitely one I'm rooting for. If you want another name to go along with him, I'm going to go with Keelan Doss. I think that he's a heck of a talent. He's very unpolished in terms of a lot of his abilities, but physically he's got the capabilities. And Derek Carr loved it. So if the quarterback is all about it, then all right, I'm in there with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see 3 players making the team, actually. And then no disrespect to Ronald Ollie, but he might have been brought on as well because he has experience with cameras and he's good for television. Maybe Hard Knocks Raiders? I don't know. Last Chance U, Hard Knocks Raiders? Kind of interesting.
How's that for some synergy, series to series? Absolutely. You want to talk about that's a better crossover than freaking Laverne and Shirley on Happy Days, man.
That's right. I remember that.
Or the Jeffersons on All in the Family.
Shamil, Shamazo, Haas and Pepper Incorporated. That was Laverne and Shirley. Oh, yeah. And
sorry, you couldn't see my hand. Here we go.
We're going off topic, but did you watch that live show with the actors redoing the Jeffersons and All in the Family about a month ago?
I did not see it. I saw some of the clips, and I heard it was pretty good. And from what I saw in the clips, I heard it was pretty good. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when they bring back those old kind of shows like that, man. That's cool.
It was so fun to watch, the younger actors, like trying to do the characters.
Yeah.
It was a fun watch,
right on.
dude.
That's cool. That's cool.
And the Raiders play
songs that made the hit parade.
Songs that made the Raiders parade. Those were the days. Remember when people were then? I don't know.
I had one, Mikey. You went over me, man. I had a great line.
Do it. Let's go. We'll start it again. Those were the days.
And your coach was John Gruden.
And Antonio Brown came in and moved it.
Mister, we could use a man like Alan Davis again.
Mark Davis went to Vegas this day.
The autumn wind was a hit parade.
Howie Longsack, the quarterback in those days. Oh, we're having too much fun.
Oh, my God. And, I'm willing to bet that nobody in the chat, there might be like 3 old guys in there that get that joke, and nobody else in the chat. Go Google it. Go watch old YouTube videos of All in the Family. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it.
I believe Lester Cotton might make the team. The offensive guard out of Alabama. It's a big school. He's got a big name. His stats were pretty good. He started for championship teams like 3 years running. He's got a little bit of experience. Tevin Coney, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. I mean, that guy, they cannot believe he wasn't drafted. And then I'm going to say Keelan Doss, punt team, special teams, might beat out J.J. Nelson or Ryan Grant for that spot. So that's my opinion. Songs that made a hit parade. All right, whatever. Give me your final free agency thoughts. After, I guess, free agency is pretty much over. What are your final thoughts? Did you like it?
Well, we knocked that out of the park, man. Look at I've been griping about the Raiders not addressing inside linebacker for 7 years, and so we did that and did it well, bringing in players like Burfict and Brandon Marshall, man, to go along with Terry Whitehead. Like that's Trent Brown, Antonio Brown. Like I mean, come on, man. I think we did awesome. LaMarcus Joyner, man. We're legit free agency wise. It was great.
They're all still 1-year players for the most part, so that kind of annoys me long term. But you know what? That's Gruden's plan. I think he doesn't want to build in free agency with very expensive players at this point till Vegas. How did Mike Mayock do in his first draft? Grade him.
I think Mayock was great. I think he gets an A. Absolutely. I hate the fact that you got these three morons on the screen here, except for Chris Sims. He's not too bad, but gosh, the one in the middle, that C over Florio stands for clown. He's just a douche.
Yeah, I've been, ever since you spoke, I love Pro Football Talk just because I love football talk. But I've really noticed he's definitely against the Raiders lore now that you spoke on it. And Peter King, not all the time. He's like half and half.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Sims is the former player with Gruden, so he kind of defends it from a good perspective. But I enjoy Pro Football Talk.
He does, and Sims provides some unique insights, and I'll give him that. And I heard there was a podcast he did with Paul Burmeister. I don't know if you heard that, and he talked about Gruden for 30 minutes and giving and providing like an actual insight. And I got a bunch of the audio recorded, giving an insight of what's Gruden like as a coach, what's it like in camp, what's it like in practice, day in, day out. And that's a unique perspective. And I felt he was being honest and very forthcoming in that. And it wasn't agenda driven. So I did appreciate that. But those other two guys, they're driven by a freaking, an agenda against the Raiders. But you're right. Peter King about half the time. I agree with you there.
Yeah, so I give Mike Mayock an A. I think he really took charge of this draft. But, I mean, some might question, the Alabama Clemson players. What do you think of the Clemson Raiders?
I love it, man. Hey, we'll be Clemson West. Why not? Hey, look, again, these are the guys when you flip on your TV on Saturdays and you see, teams winning championships, these were the guys. So, yeah, okay, we'll take them. And
These were the guys.
It's funny, though, is that I loved Josh Jacobs, who, of course, got beat by Clemson in the national championship game. Did you see his tweet that he put out with this picture? And he said, it was like, ugh, look at all that ugly-ass orange.
Orange. That's what I was going to say. That's why I hate this picture. It's because of the damn Bronco orange that I'm looking at.
Well, but it
pisses me the F off.
Yeah, but for him, though, it was because all these guys beat him in the national championship game. But no, I thought that was great. That was pretty funny.
These were called the Oakland Raiders back in the days. Now they're the Clemson Raiders these days. Then they'll be the Vegas Raiders in the future days. Those were the Raiders. Mike Mayock stumped the truck. Do you think he made the Bell pick just to stump the truck? And is that a disgrace to Quentin Bell? Or did he make the pick because of the Nick Bell legacy of the former Raider as well? What is your thought on Mayock stumping the truck?
100% made this pick to stump the truck. I love it. I love the gamesmanship of it. Look, you're a 7th round pick. Your odds of making the team are low to be. I don't think a guy like Quentin Bell, who's a converted wide receiver, cares one bit why he was drafted. The fact that he was drafted, and I love the meta game going on here. And Rich Eisen got a huge kick out of it. I got to meet. I don't know if I told you this. I got to meet Rich Eisen's sidekicks, Chris Brockman and Mike Del Tufo, and they actually cut an ID for our show. They were super, super cool. But anyways, Rich Eisen and Mike Mayock are long buddies. And so, no, I loved it, man. And Quentin Bell, did you also see there was a video that he did with his family of all of them going, Raiders? It was amazing. I think that it was great. Yes, there was gamesmanship, but I don't think it was insulting, not one single bit on any level. And I thought it was fun, man. It was cool.
Yeah, I watched the draft on ESPN. I will not tune into NFL Network for any NFL draft. I just have the old days of Chris Berman in my head on ESPN. So that's why I watch ESPN on draft day. But they had the Quentin Bell highlights. They had it. And I was I didn't notice this till after I read the reports, but they had the Quentin Bell highlights show. Kudos to them. And there's the Nick Bell, Quentin Bell comparison. Look, even the picture of Quentin Bell, they had a hard time finding a good picture. It's like, it seems kind of funny. All right. So I think that's it for the draft questions. We got our draft review done, dude. Woohoo! Now we're in the fun segment. Reminder, Raider Nation, call the Rant hotline. Leave some questions to be on future shows under a minute long. Ask some questions to Murf, me, and we will hopefully get you on a show in the future. I love that picture. It says, train hard in silence and let success be your noise. They got a picture of Derek Carr, Marcus Allen, and Charles Woodson. That is a great quote.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Murf, talk a little bit about what's going on with you and the Fred Biletnikoff Foundation on your channel and here below.
Well, I appreciate you asking. So if you go to RaidersFanRadio.com/t-shirts, no hyphen, just TSHIRTS, you can buy one of these shirts. This is the Get Made RFR shirt. So if you call our show 3 times and get your message played, we refer to you as a made man or a made woman. So that's why the shirts say Get Made, and then it has our Raiders Fan Radio logo on it. 100% of the sales of these t-shirts, we are giving the money to the Fred Biletnikoff Foundation. I've been in talks with Angela Biletnikoff, his wife, numerous times. And so not only are they going to gladly accept our donation, but they've asked us to present the donation in person at their annual Crab Fest, which is going to happen the week before the Lions game this year. So I think Uncle Mosh and I know we're going to go out there to Oakland to go to the Lions game. And then we're going to present this check at their annual Crab Fest dinner and present them. So our goal is to raise $2,000. We're a little over $400 in now. So again, please help us, help them, support them. They're cool shirts. They're $20 plus shipping. I just sent out a bunch of orders today. They're going out all over the country, and they're legit shirts, man. They're not, I've had them. Uncle Mosh has got a guy. All right, it's what Sicilians do. They got a guy, so he's got a t-shirt guy. All right, so this t-shirt guy made us up all over. So I got them on. They're right here in my fan cave. They're here, so they're legit screen printed shirts. They're good quality shirts. $20. All of the money, 100% of it, is going out to the Biletnikoff Foundation. So help us support them. If you don't know what the Biletnikoff Foundation is, I'll let you kind of go out and research that. But just to give you a quick rundown, their daughter, Tracy Biletnikoff, was sadly taken early in life in relation to domestic abuse. And so this foundation is out there to provide safe space for girls and for women who are looking to get away from domestic violence situations, substance abuse issues, basically a way to give them not only safe spaces, but then help them get their lives back on track. And there's a lot of different programs and things within the Biletnikoff Foundation that help these young women and help these young people kind of get their lives back in order. And so it's a wonderful foundation. We are incredibly blessed and thankful that they would let us be part of it at all. And Angela's been amazing. And dude, when they asked us to be there to present, I'm like, because I was just going to give them a donation. We were just going to save up money on behalf of the Raiders Fan Radio listeners and just give it to them. And then she asked us if we wanted to do it in person. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, like the opportunity to go out there and, you know what I mean, and rub elbows with the Raider greats, with everybody that goes to this dinner. I mean, like, heck yeah, man. So me and Uncle Mosh are going to go out there and do it. And so please help us, help them, order up a shirt. We got them in big boy sizes. We got them all the way up to 4X. So
you have them in Mikey Raider sizes?
I just sent yours out today, my friend. So we got them out there. So definitely, please help us and support them. That's all we ask, man. And it's not, there's nothing wrong with making money off of this stuff. Nothing wrong with those that are out there making money off their YouTube shows and their merchandise and all that. But what we've chosen to do with ours in this moment, in this point in my life, I just want to give it all away, man. And there's no better charity other than the Biletnikoff Foundation to give it to. So thank you for the platform, Mikey. Thank you to all of those of you that have supported us already by buying them. And thank you to those of you that will do it in the future.
Yeah, so there's a link below my channel. There will be another link below because I found out the new website. That'll be below after the show. But you could also go to Raiders Fan Radio on his YouTube channel, and I'm sure he has the link in many of the videos as well, so you could find it there. Please support and respect. Much love, and I can't wait till that happens. I also want to give props to Just Win Johnny, who won the Jalen Richard design contest for his youth football skills camp. And then also I wanted to give props that it's coming up. You guys can take your kids and have a good time at the Jalen Richard Youth Football Skills Camp coming up Saturday, June 22nd, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. at Peabody Madnick High. If you are in Alexandria, Louisiana, that's the Jalen Richard Youth Football Camp. All right, pro football talk. I love it. What is your best NFL in-stadium song that you could think about? And then I'll ask other songs that should be an anthem. But do you have a best NFL in-stadium song? Chris Sims said it was the Raiders' Autumn Wind for him.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but that's almost too easy. So, yeah, I would say that the Autumn Wind is because it's very specific to the Raiders. It's just the Raiders only. So to go outside of that box, I would say when you're at the Oakland Coliseum and the initial first few gongs of the bell and Hell's Bells hits, man, there's just that fires me up, man. That's good stuff. So there's a lot of great anthem songs, but I would say those bells, man, the place erupts when those hit, man. So yeah, that'd be my vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Autumn Wind as well, but you brought up the good point, the Hell's Bells. You know what? That's a good dang song. So I agree. But Autumn Wind, just the legacy of dun 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 dun. I have to go with Chris Sims. Any songs that should be an anthem, whether it be for the Raiders or any other team? Any song that should be an anthem from your perspective?
It's funny. I'm a rock and roll guy, and I'm a big fan of this band, but I'm not like crazy about them, like Led Zeppelin or some Metallica or some of my other like crazy favorite. But I like Wolfmother a lot. But their openers to a lot of Wolfmother songs like could full on be stadium anthems. Like just the opening riffs of their guitar. Andrew Stockdale's the chief songwriter and performer of that band, and they're just like built for rockin' stadium songs. So Joker and the Thief, for those if you want an example of one, I know we can't play anything here on the show, but if for those of you that just look, Joker and the Thief, man, if just the opening riff to that song, it's just a dun 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 dun. Dun. It's like that's just made for like firing up a crowd at a game. So I would say pretty much most Wolfmother songs.
Yeah, in terms of songs that should be an anthem. Well, I wish the fans that make music for their favorite teams would be able to play one of their popular songs, like in the stadium. And I'm going to go with a song for Dub. My friends, my boys, it's called Soul Raider. I just love that song. It's got like a Jamaican type feel to it. And then to play that in Raider or the Coliseum in front of Raider fans in their final year in Oakland, I think it would be amazing because that's who we are. We're Raiders to the soul. And the song goes, I'm a Raider, woo, woo, a soul Raider, I'm a champion, committed to excellence. Bum, 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 bum. Then it gets, it's just great feeling song. And it should be a Raider anthem. And there's many of Raider Nation artists that should have their music. All right. Go for it. Can
I give you one? Cause that's a great answer. And can I give you a follow-up one real quick? Dem Raider Boys do Thank You Al. Have you heard that one? Holy crap, man. That is legit. Give me chills. That is a great song. And that
Al,
one hits.
You gave to us, you made or something like that.
Yes, that's a great one. So as far as the fan generated ones, that would be one of my, and the 4Dub guys are awesome too, but I'm not saying in place of them, but yeah, that one, that Thank You Al, that's a fantastic song.
What about I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. My goodness.
Or who do you love? The Z-E-E.
Who do you love? Oakland Raiders. Oh my God.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
That's why the NFL should instead of suing their fans, they should do something for their fans, man. Let them have songs in the stadium. What's your guilty pleasure song? It could be from any artist that you don't want anybody to know that you love or you listen to.
Wow, guilty pleasure. Oh man, I don't. You go first, so I can think for a second.
I'm gonna go with, I don't like this type of music, this auto-tune music. I really don't. I think they don't really have true artistry. But I think his name is Post Malone. He has a song called White Iverson, and then another song called Congratulations that I'm just really digging on. It's like, you say congratulations. It's a guilty pleasure because it's pop culture nonsense. And I kind of like Taylor Swift every once in a while. Oh, no, did I admit it?
Hey man, my old co-host Sonny, he's a huge Taylor Swift fan, and he loves the science behind her songwriting. He thinks that she's like a wizard when it comes to writing songs, man, because she follows this crazy formula, and clearly it works. I guess I'm not trying to cop out. I really don't have a guilty pleasure because anything that I listen to, I'm pretty proud of. Like, I'm trying to think of like when I go like off genre, if there's something that like, but even when I do that, like I'm not a country music fan, but I love Charlie Daniels. But I'm not like ashamed of that because it's good music still. So, I mean, like, I'll tell you what, maybe some of the cheesy like hair metal, think about like, I Remember You, like a Skid Row song. Or like Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. But I'm not like totally ashamed of that, but I guess, it's a little cheesy hair metal.
I'm a cowboy on a raider horse I ride. I'm wanted. Oh my God, you're bringing me back. I love it. We're having fun. All right, I looked up Google and I wrote cringe, the word cringe, and a Mikey Raider. And this is what came up for the word cringe and Mikey Raider. So apparently it matches. And then I wrote the word cringe and Murf plus Murf's Fan Cave.
Okay.
And this one came up.
That's not so bad.
But you with a bow tie.
Yeah.
You looking like Santa, you looking like a bow tie.
That was from which actually is going to be the next episode of Raiders Fan Radio on the 19th. We do our annual Fanny Awards where we have a tongue-in-cheek award show. And that's me dressed up for the Fanny Awards last year.
The Fanny Awards. My Fanny should get an award because it goes through a lot of, there's a lot of like pressure and stuff. It goes through a lot. All right. I'm just saying. All right. Check out this toy from Gorilla Rilla as he posted on Instagram. It's a custom pop vinyl, whatever they call it, pop customs.
Yeah.
I want a toy I love this. Would you buy one?
I know the guy that made that.
Dude, I thought it was the company, the actual pop company.
No, that's Monster Mash Ken made that.
Are you kidding me? I thought it was the company.
No,
I thought you pay hundreds of dollars and they make it for you.
He makes custom action figures. He's the one that made Little Murf. I got the green screen behind me, so I can't grab my figure. But we met Ken because he reached out to us and he made a Little Murf. So I have a little 3 3/4 action figure that's Little Murf, and so he's done all kinds of he does amazing custom work, not just Raider stuff. It's his thing is all kinds of different pop culture things or whatever. But yes, he made that. I'm 99.9% sure that's the one that he made for Gorilla Rilla. So yeah, kudos to Ken.
I want one. All right, Mash. You see me with my Raider shield? I want a Mikey Raider with that big shield somehow. I want one of those toys. Just throwing that out there. All right, we're gonna have a game. Have a game. The Raiders need a new defensive end to shack the quarterback, right?
Okay.
So we want you as the fans to come up with a name for Murf as the Shack Master on the Raiders for this year. So if Murf was a Shack Master for the Raiders, what would his nickname be? I threw out the word Murf Nasty, and I want you guys to come up with a Murf nickname to be a Shack Master for the Raiders below. What would your dance be if your name was Murf Nasty or whatever? What type of sack dance would you have, Murf?
Oh, I'd have to go with one of the white boy moves, like the sprinkler thing, or like pulling the chainsaw or pushing the shopping cart. You know what I mean? I'd have to go with like one of those. They're the plunger. I'd have to go with one of those moves probably. I'd say probably the chainsaw. I think that's probably and I'll get that get that overbite going.
The Murf neck chainsaw.
Yeah.
You got a big neck. Just saying. You
I
got
do. Me and Mike Glennon are fighting for longest neck in the league now that I'm wearing number 99 and part of the Raiders.
Yeah, and you stood out in the sun a little bit too long on that day. Just saying, you got a nice tan.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so I gave myself the Sackmaster Mike. It's an ode to the Beastie Boys, kind of. And I call myself Sackmaster Mike. And I would wear a hat underneath the helmet somehow. And I would literally do the Sackmaster Mike dance. And the Sackmaster Mike dance is the Truffle Shuffle. Ooh,
there it is.
Ooh,
hey now. Getting all rated up in here. Easy. Man.
I would do the Goonie Truffle Shuffle, Sackmaster Mike Truffle Shuffle.
Hey, can I share a picture with you real quick? Just because I have it sitting here right here. Uncle Mosh did the Truffle Shuffle one time on Raiders Fan Radio, and one of our listeners made up a picture of Uncle Mosh on. Where's he? Where am I at? There we go. Where's it at? There we go. On Chunk's body.
There he is with the beanie.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Wearing his Raider beanie and doing on Chunk's
I love
body
it.
there. Yeah.
I did the Truffle Shuffle in a video many years back. But give Murf and me a nickname. So give Murf a nickname to be. He could either be Murf Nasty, whatever you guys want. We'll read it later. And I called myself Sackmaster Mike. All right, Murf, you got a new show that I truly love called Tales from the Nation. Let everybody know what that's about, and then give a very quick tale.
Okay, so Tales from the Nation are stories of significance from Raider Nation, from the team. It's stories of significance, so not tales of greatness always. This could be everything from week one, or not week one, but the first show we recorded was the Heidi game. We then did Derek Carr breaking his leg, which has not been released yet. Very significant moment in the team history. Not a tale of greatness. It was a rough day, but we talked about it. So we're going to could be Super Bowl wins, could be, drafting Jamarcus Russell. It could be the Holy Roller. It could be Sea of Hands. It could be, the Immaculate Deception. There are endless amounts of tales that we could tell. So it's myself and our social media director for Murf's Fan Cave. His name is Swag Jeff. And so Swag Jeff and I sit down and we do them quick. They're only about 20 to 30 minutes long. We only stay on one topic and we just cover that one tale and get in and get out and just kind of relive some of those moments. And it's been a lot of fun. The feedback has been phenomenal. So thank you to those of you that are checking us out. It's in the Murf's Fan Cave feed. So any of your podcast networks, just search for Murf's Fan Cave. You know how to spell it, Murfs Fan Cave, and subscribe, and it'll show up in your feed, man. So we appreciate the response so far, and it's been fun, man. And I'll be short. I love the history of the team. I love the history of the Raiders, and even for somebody that's very familiar with the history of the Raiders, I'm already learning things. Like I learned about, like in that Heidi game, Preston Riddlehuber. Well, I didn't know who Preston Riddlehuber was. I'm willing to bet you don't. I'm willing to bet nobody in the chat knows who Preston Riddlehuber is. Listen to the first Tales from the Nation, the Heidi game, and you'll find out exactly who he is. And he's very significant in terms of the Raider history. So definitely check it out, and appreciate you guys giving us the support.
Do you have a quick tale? I thought Tales from the Nation, I know it meant the game, but I thought it meant from the fans' perspective, or like stories from the actual nation, not only the Raider team, but that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, it's not in this case, but it certainly could be. And if you're looking for a story from us from a fan perspective, I'll tell you about the time that my former co-host and I, Sonny, when we met Jim Plunkett, we were sitting at the club level of the Oakland Coliseum, and we're sitting there with another friend of ours, and I look up, and here comes Jim Plunkett, and so our buddy's name is Harley, and I go, Harley, take a picture. And so me and Sonny jump up, and I go, hey, Jim, can we get a picture? And he goes, yeah. So you could tell he's in a hurry, right? And so he comes over and he gets in between us. And my friend Harley can't get the camera app to work right away on the phone. And so I'm getting come on, dude, get the thing. So I got this look on my face is like this in the picture. And then, and so that's bad enough. But then when we got done with the picture, Plunkett goes, all right, guys, let's go. And so my cousin Sonny goes, thank you for your service, sir. And Plunkett goes, I wasn't in the military. And then walked off. It was really funny. So we got this goofy picture, and my starstruck cousin could only come up with, thank you for your service, sir.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I love it. I don't know if I'm technically in the Raider lore or the history of the Raiders, but I did make that Raider announcer, the former Raider announcer. Remember when he laughed at me?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Brent Musgrave, Bill Musburger, whatever the hell I said. But I literally was a part of Raider history on the day that Al Davis died and passed away. I was at the Raider Image the night before, and Rod Martin was signing autographs, and I went up there and I was talking to him, having a good old time. I was going to watch a movie around 10:30, 11:30, like the last movies of the night after the store closed, the Raider Image. And Rod Martin got a phone call during that visit around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night that Al Davis passed earlier in the day.
Oh, wow.
But the news report did not come out till the following morning. Officially, it didn't come out till the following morning. So I saw Rod Martin jump ship, stood up, and he just yelled to everybody in the Raider Image around 9:45 at night, Al Davis has passed away. Wow. And then he jumped on the first plane to Oakland to go be there. And I knew a night before, and I actually went online and made a reaction video right after that. And it was up before the news reports that Al Davis died.
Wow.
Because people woke up around, 5 or 6 in the morning, and then the reports were coming in. And I had my video up at like 2 o'clock in the morning that Al Davis just died.
Wow. That's a pretty wild story.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's
hold on. Let me shift gears back here. Let's see if I can do this.
Here it is.
Can you see it?
I can.
My goofy look on there, man.
Move it to your left. There you go.
This way?
Wait, from your left and down a little. There you go. There you go. We got it. We got the goofy look.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
I love it. So there it is, Raider Nation. Mondays with Mike and Murf was officially back. We had a good time, if you will. We thank you guys for tuning in. And we are going to hopefully go back to an every Monday schedule very, very soon. We're also coming up on our 2nd year anniversary. We started with the training camp specials in like late July last year. So we're almost 2 years in, Murf. And this is the official 27th show.
Very cool. What famous Raiders wore 27, or what Raiders period wore 27? I can't even think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's not a good Raidery number. Yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Let them do that. Let them do that. You guys find
Eddie George is the only person I could think of that even wore 27 of any significance in any sport.
Eddie George, that's right, 27.
He was 27, yeah.
So I don't know the official date yet, Murf, of the next show. It might be early July. It might be late June. But we are going to get together. And then I promise you, right before the preseason into the last weeks of training camp, we are going to have a Mondays with Mike and Murf every week, as long as they'll keep us on the air. So it is what it is. Any closing statements to our beautiful Raider Nation that stayed on with us during the entire Golden State Warriors game?
Oh, my gosh. I know we're missing the Warrior game. We're getting ready to go watch it right now. But, yes, thank you to those of you very, very much. I know I said it a bunch earlier, but I want to reiterate just one last time. Thank you for supporting us and allowing us to support the Biletnikoff Foundation. We're going to present this check on behalf of not only the Raiders Fan Radio listeners, but also all of the Murph's Fan Cave listeners, which includes this show, Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Thank you very, very much. Please go to RaidersFanRadio.com, buy a t-shirt, and allow us to support them. Thank you for downloading and supporting the show as always. Thank you, Mikey. I can't wait till we get back at it full time. Number 27 was also Reggie Nelson, so we will forget about him instantly. And but just is glad to be back, man. I know you've had I'm not going to get totally personal, but we've both had some challenges in our life that go on here in the early part of the summer. And so Mondays with Mikey and Murf will be a nice break from reality reality at times, and I hope that maybe that we can offer that to you all as well, because you know what? If you're listening to us, guess what? You are the hardcorest of the hardcore. If you're hardcore enough of a Raider fan to watch a couple of yahoos like us hop on a YouTube channel and talk about this sport and this team that we love so much, then you are definitely hardcore. And so if we can provide a little bit of a break for you, and when you hop on and listen to us yammer on about the Raiders, then I hope that we can do that for you, because guess what? You're doing it for us. You're doing it for us, and it means a lot to us that you are willing to hang in there as long as you have, and to listen to us, and to be part of it, and to interact with us. And so thank you to all of you listening. Thank you to you, Mikey. I love you. You rock, and I look forward to doing this full time again.
And again, I just want to thank Jerry, Jay, Asenzo, and everybody in the chat room that donated, that participated. We love you all. We thank you. We do see it. We just can't respond constantly because we're in the midst of talking forever. And you're right, Murf, change is the necessary evil in life. And a lot of us are dealing with change. And sometimes it's hard to deal with. But hey, we're all Raider Nation. We had to deal with the change last year. And Oakland is going to have to deal with it this year. But we're going to get together. As long as we're family, we love each other, and we handle it together. All right, let's sing the theme song. And you guys dance with me. And Murf, you need to do the thumb dance. You need to do the thumb dance. All right, here we go. Let's get on out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. Here we go. This has been Monday or Fridays with Mikey and Murf. We talked Raiders and football dirt. We had a good time. We did all in the family shows. We having good times. Let's go. It's Fridays today on Mondays with Mike and Murf. We'll see you on the next show. We love you.